Okay, gang, welcome to what is going to probably be several videos in a small video series. Going to be doing some reorganizing, reconfiguring of the studio down here, and I wanted to document the before and tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. Before we get started, just realize this is all being done with my GoPro under not the best lighting conditions, so if the video quality sucks, sorry. The audio should be pretty good as I am using a lav mic. But yeah, so I didn't go to the trouble of really lighting up the place, so hopefully this will work for you. Anyway, so if you've been following the channel since the beginning where we installed the SSL, you've seen the SSL's in the same position that it's always been. It's up against this far wall here. And let me just take a kind of a sweep of the room here. So I'm back in one corner. Here's the left of the SSL. You'll see the equipment racks over there. And if I swing back here, you'll see in the back of the room here, towards the back, and we'll go over there in a bit, where you first enter the room is back there by the door. From that entranceway up to the console, it's about 25, 26 feet. So this room's about 26 feet depth from the front wall to the back wall. And then from side to side over here by the equipment racks, behind the racks is about 3 feet, which we'll talk about in a bit. So from that far wall behind the racks to this far wall behind my record collection is about 18 feet. And there's a little jog in the wall here. You'll see the guitars on the wall, and you'll see this like little jog that comes out and then comes over. And there's a storage closet there. So from that wall on the side of my speakers over to there is about 13 feet. So it's a good size room. And when we first put the console in, we put it here and we put the racks off to the right side of the console. Originally, they were here. And if you remember, we only had these two lower racks and we didn't have as much gear, but everything fit into the lower racks, including everything that's in the server rack, which is all the power conditioners, computers and stuff. But everything kind of sat right there. And then over the first 6 months or so, you saw me and David S.J. kind of move, you know, the equipment from here to here, went up, built with more gear, then took all the computers and the power supplies and put them in a server rack that was much smaller than this, and then recently put a bigger rack because we added things like the interfaces, the NG levelers, the computers, storage drawers, the trin off, all that stuff. And we wanted to use the server rack for the computers because we had side access, because the sides were open because you couldn't get to the back of the rack. So anytime you ever had to do anything, you could always just, and again, I apologize for the camera work here, you could always get in from the side. Not easily, but you could. Okay? And it's worked. It's no problem at all. And what was over here at the time that the console installed wasn't the records and just like an open space here. What was over there, try not to make you dizzy, was this. This is my in-the-box workstation. Home recording made easy, mixing made easy.net. Here's where I do all my YouTube videos, in the box, plugins, mixing stuff. All that stuff gets done here on this desk here, okay? This desk was originally in here. And it actually fit perfectly in this little cubby. It actually fits perfectly from that light to that light. And it came out about 40 inches. So it came out to about... My chair was pretty much at the end of the carpet. So this whole little cubby area, this little cove, was my in-the-box rig, and that worked pretty well. But it was out of the way of the console, but it was kind of tucked away in the side here, and it worked well. And what was over here at the time was a couch that was on this wall. All my records that you just saw, the collection was over here, where this big light is. There was kind of kitty-cornered on an L shape. And then on this wall, where there's acoustic treatment, there was a big 55-inch TV set. And so you could watch DVDs, listen to music and stuff. It was kind of like a little sitting area for myself and if I had somebody over, company or whatever. And then what I found was that was not really getting used very much at all. So I decided over the course of time, after about a year, again, we turn back around here slow, I wanted to get the desk out of that corner because even though it was far enough away from the console, it was still, it was starting to feel claustrophobic. It was just getting to be too much over here, as you could probably imagine, between the desk and everything and all this stuff here. And then what you saw at one point, you saw the red couch was kind of in the center of the room behind the console because it looked good on video, to be quite honest. So I decided, because I wasn't using that very much, that I wanted to clear out this area, get my desk out of here, put it over here for all my in-the-box stuff, kind of get it out of the way at the opposite end of the room, and it allowed me to spread out a little bit. I didn't feel so claustrophobic at my desk because I had a nice big open space over here for my guitars and some MIDI stuff and, you know, nice lamp and all that, all my video lighting and all that stuff. And I didn't feel like I was shoved in a corner because I do spend a lot of time here. I mean, all my YouTube videos and all my Mixing Made Easy stuff and all my courses are all created here. So I wanted to get it out of there, okay? And so I did. And so I moved it, rearranged things. So my in-the-box rig is here. I just put the couch behind me because I needed a place to put it. And what that did is it opened up the room quite a bit. It opened things, it made things feel so much larger. And I moved all my records to where the desk was, which is over here now, which is cool. So if I want to pop on a record while I'm hanging around the studio, I got my turntable, speakers, a receiver, can listen to some vinyl. It's all good, some books, guitars on the wall, mood lighting, all that stuff. But now, and I've been doing that for about 6 months, 4 to 6 months maybe, we've been in this configuration. One thing that has come up with David S.J. and myself, again, as we've been working on stuff in the analog rig, adding more gear, and particularly adding, I realized this when we added our second NG level by Wes Audio, and we had to get back behind this rack again. We got to the point where it's like, it's almost impossible to work on stuff. This rig has become so big with so much gear at this point that I'm like, you know, I got to find a better way to do this, to maybe, again, to change it up a little bit, and to ultimately, the main goal was I want to have access to the back of this rack when needed. Whether we're troubleshooting a problem, adding gear, doing something, getting behind this rack is now impossible. And there's so many cables that are kind of thrown back there. I'm going to try to get you in here with this GoPro. You may not be able to see it too well because the lighting is just terrible, but I'm going to try to stick this in and see. Let me go over the top of this here, just to give you some perspective on what we're dealing with here. And again, I'm sorry for the bad camera work. Again, this is all just handheld. It's a little behind the scenes here, okay? All these cables are just, it's crazy. And the other thing that I've never really liked was the big cable running across the floor that goes from the console to the racks. And then we have a bundle of all power cables going from the racks over to the power conditioners. It's just gotten to be too much. There's too much gear here now. So I was thinking, what if I could rearrange this a little bit? And the other thing is, one of the other things is, that kind of spawned this idea is this right here. These speakers, these Focal Twins, the original, the Mark 1s are going away. And I ordered a pair of the new Trio 6s, the ST version. They're coming in about 2 weeks. And so those are going to go away. I'm going to put the Trios up. I'm dying to get the Focal Trios. I'm really looking for the step up. So those are going to be for sale soon. If someone wants them, hit me up. We're probably going to do about $2,000 for the pair for the original Twins, which they sound amazing, don't get me wrong. But I want to go with the Trios. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to get back here, rearrange things, replace things. And so I thought this would be a good time to kind of get rid of all this clutter and to move things around. So what are we going to do? So, and then the other thing is, because we've been piecing together the whole system over time, right? We keep putting new gear in and just throwing cables in. We've got a lot of cable management problems behind this rack, as I said, and particularly behind the console. There's just cables everywhere, video cables for cameras, lighting cables. There's just stuff everywhere. UPSs are down here for all the power. There's just stuff going everywhere. And so I wanted to clean this up. And when I was talking to David about this, David S.J., he was saying, you know, the only way to really do this is to pull the console, strip everything down, rewire everything from start to finish, now that we have all the finalized gear in here, and cable manage everything to death, and clean it up. Because I'm a neat freak. You wouldn't know by looking at this stuff, but I am. So I said, well, if we're going to do that, is there a better way to situate these 3 racks? So I can ultimately get to the back of this rack the way we can get to the back of these. If you look back here, and you've seen this before on camera, where we've gotten back here, again, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, But we have a lot of space back here, and we easily can get back here, and I can easily work on the equipment back here. I mean, we have cables on the floor. We got to do a better job cable managing, but here's the back of the patch bays. I mean, you can get to all this stuff really easily. I don't have to worry about this. If there's a problem, I can easily walk back here and get to this stuff. I can't with the computer rack or anything in that server rack. Okay, so what am I thinking? Let me walk out here again. And I don't even know if this video is going to be usable. But, so what I'm going to do is we're going to do two things. We're going to disconnect everything as Dave said. But what I'm thinking about doing is taking these two racks and the server rack and pulling them from this side of the console over here. And we're going to put them, let me move this out of the way, right along the edge of that carpet. We have enough room to put 3 racks side by side, okay? And that's going to give us about 3.5 to 4 feet behind the racks for all the cable management. This record collection fits perfectly, when I measured it, right back here in this cubby behind these racks. It actually will fit from wall to wall. Fits in, will tuck in nice and perfect. I'm going to move acoustic treatment, move the pictures, get rid of the guitar, all that stuff. It's going to kind of be sunken back into the room. It'll fit actually perfect, and that'll free up this space here where the racks are will be gone. This whole corner will be freed up and will be gone. And all of that is going to go right in this right here. 1, 2, 3, with access to those racks walking in from this side. I'm going to leave like because the racks are only going to be about 20 inches deep. We're going to be able to walk in right about there, about a 3-foot span, be able to walk right in. And then we're going to have from about where my finger is, where that white dot is on the floor, to the back wall, which is about 3.5, 4 feet. So we're going to have plenty of space this way and this way to cable manage everything. All the cables from the console are going to come, instead of going to that side, they're going to now go to this side. And we're going to go around the wall here, along the floor, around the outer perimeter of the room. We're going to sneak it in here along the side, so you won't see all these ugly wires everywhere. They'll be pretty well hidden in a nice, neat bundle all the way over to the side. And then everything will be right here. So it'll be about the same distance away from the sweet spot as it was before from the console. Let me kind of pull over here. It'll just be to my left instead of to my right. And that's going to achieve two things. It's going to allow me, as I said, to get behind all 3 equipment racks now, not just the equipment, but the server racks as well. And it's going to give us a lot of distance behind the racks to be able to not only get back there and work on stuff, but to better cable manage, and when there's a problem, to easily see things. And it eliminates all the spaghetti wires that are behind here, as I tried to show you. It eliminates bundles of wires all over the floor, power cables, all of that will go away and will be more neatly managed. And then we're going to have to reposition cameras and stuff. And then as I pull the console forward to disconnect everything, to rewire everything, it's going to give us the opportunity to lay the trios in place and set them up. Because I've already marked the stands on the floor with tape, so I know exactly where they're going to go. We're going to be able to clean all the wires up from behind the console. There's a lot of wires. Again, I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but and it may not do it justice, but you can see my Focal subs down there. What you can't see, or maybe beyond the Focal sub, you can see there's a couple of UPSs for power and surge. All that stuff, the sub's going to stay there, but all the power stuff is all going to go away. And it's all just going to be, again, routed. We're going to go out the back of the console, along the back wall, and just come right across the outer perimeter here, so you won't see it. And then, you know, my cameras will have to move, and we're going to have to reposition camera angles and stuff, but that's what we're going to do. So this is probably going to be, in my estimation, because with the exception of having David S.J., there's nobody else to help me. And so preparation is simple. I got to spend probably 2 days personally, before Dave even gets here, disconnecting every cable from the console, every cable from the hardware. We're not gonna unmount everything, because I'm gonna leave everything in the same configuration. But in order to move move all these racks, I got to unplug all the cabling from the back, all the power cables. We're going to start over. Gonna get all the cables coiled up on the floor by size. We're gonna disconnect every single cable from the console to the patch bays, because we have some that are only, say, 10, 15 footers from this end of the console to the patch bay, and we have 20 or 25 footers going from the first two buckets over to the patch bay, and now that has to be reversed if the patch bays are going on the other side of the console. Plus, I'm going to disconnect every wire that goes from to the interfaces, to the power strips. All this has got to be disconnected. All the cables have got to be kind of laid out on the floor by size, and we're going to rewire everything, the entire console, all of the server rack, all of this, and then these 3 racks, 2, 3, are all going to go over here. And then everything from the console is going to be, instead of going in left to right, it's going to go in from right to left, out of the back of the console and around. So I'm going to spend about 2 days of my time just doing it by myself, disconnecting, physically moving, getting things ready to go. Once I get these out of the way physically, then I can move the records and all of that stuff that's going to go over into that other side. I know I'm going all over the place, guys. Back behind there, shove it back where it's going to go, move those 3 racks over here physically. And then when Dave gets here, we start the wiring process, 1 cable at a time, clean it up, hopefully going to be able to eliminate a lot of cables, better wire manage and cable manage everything, and then ultimately have ultimate access to behind all the gear. Because we had a problem not too long ago where, and again, I don't know, one of my quantums, one of the inputs, the print track going back in on the top quantum, the first D-sub cable, we think there might be a problem because we're getting all kinds of static and crackling and stuff, and when I moved it to the second set of inputs, it worked just fine. So my fear is that these things are old. I bought them used. They don't make them anymore, as you guys have seen on the channel. And I'm really nervous about the fact that if these things go at one point, what am I going to replace them with and all of that. So anyway, right now everything's working fine, but when I had a problem with this, again, just trying to get back here to unscrew cables and stuff, it's a nightmare. Even though with the server rack, like I said, it's wide open, you'd think it's easy to get in here. It's not, because there's so many D-sub cables. To get your hands behind there and twist the little screws and stuff, it's impossible. You really got to do it from behind the rack. And even though this thing is on wheels, there's just too much stuff in the way. So anyway, that'll be, so my plan is, here's the first video, here's the before. My plan is, most of the next 3 or 4 videos, guys, you're going to see just like this. Handheld, maybe some decent audio, but it's going to be kind of a behind the scenes thing. Because I have to get the studio back up and running within a week, I don't have time to worry about high quality video. So this is going to have to be good enough. You get enough high quality video at this channel, right? Okay, so this will be the end of this video, and then day 1 of the rebuild, I'll take footage throughout the day as I'm disconnecting everything and show you the mess of wires and how I'm organizing things, and kind of just take you along with me to show you how I'm going to do all of this. And then when David gets up here, we'll do a series of videos of us wiring things back up and just taking you through the process, just so you know what it takes to do all of this. And then hopefully the end reveal will be those racks will be over there, those records will be back there in the corner. We will have gotten rid of the Focal Twins, and we'll have the Trio 6s up there, and then those are going to go on Reverb for sale unless somebody wants a fantastic deal and an awesome set of monitors. I mixed lots and lots of hundreds of mixes on those, and they sound fantastic, but I've been dying to get the Trios, the new ones. I've heard they're just absolutely next level stuff, and I really want to improve the monitoring system the best way I can. And so that'll be it. And then we're going to have a different camera angle. Normally you guys see me sitting at the console and I'm looking at that camera, and you see behind me this stuff. Now we're going to probably have it so the camera's going to be coming from there, and you're going to see the same stuff, but you're going to see it over there. So we're going to have little bit of a different view here on the channel. So that's what's going to be going on over the next several weeks, and I don't know how these videos will get edited and get distributed, but hopefully you guys will find this helpful. And as things come up, and as we come up with cool little ideas and wire management tips or information or problems we run across, or things that we can provide you as far as information to help you as we learn and as we go through this process, I will be sure to share with you. So again, like, share, subscribe. Hopefully you find this stuff helpful. And yeah, that's it. So one more look at the room here. And again, this is all going to stay just the way it is. I'm going to leave the in-the-box rig over there because I like it kind of out of the way. It's kind of like having my own little, it's like a TV set, right? I got my in-the-box stuff. I got my backdrop for when I do my in-the-box stuff. And then, you know, when I'm doing all the analog stuff, what you guys see is all up there, right? And then we have our video editing station, our video capturing station, I should say, right here. This table here, which is going to stay here, I think, for now. This is just capturing all the video for everything we do at Mixing Music Analog. It's all captured. 4 or 5 camera angles are captured on here. I have a, you know, my own interface for it. All videoing, video editing, just for Mixing Music Analog. That's on a you know, a sit stand desk. I think it's going to stay there. It's out of the way, kind of. There's nowhere else to really put it. It's fine. It's out of the way. But the rest of the room will still be wide open. We're just really going to flip-flop a bunch of stuff. It'll give us a little more room. It'll feel a little more open over there, but it'll just give us better working conditions on the equipment over here. So that's it for now. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you have any comments or any questions or anything you want to see, leave them below. And until the next video, I've been Dave with Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you guys soon.